What's happening, home service homies? Welcome to the home service happy hour. I got my guy Corey Edmunds in the bar tonight. And last week I had this not an epiphany. It was more like a letdown. Whatever an epiphany style letdown would be, I had it because my wife bought me. Corey, you probably haven't seen this yet. This was my number one Christmas present right here that I got from my wife. It's the miniest of mini fridges, complete with home service happy hour and best damn bookkeeping logo. And it happens to fit 4 beers in it. I got 3 in here tonight, and it just so happens that I need one. But my flaw last week was I brought some beers up, and they were the pounders. They were the 16 ounces, and that didn't. The 16 ounces didn't work so hot because it's like made for 12 ounces. I didn't think that I could, in hindsight, I should just pull, there's like a little rack in there. I should just pull that out, but I panicked and then I just brought up a beer cooler. But now I got 12 ounce Busch Lights. And so the beer fridge is back in full order, which is good because I'm thirsty.
I think that fridge needs some fireworks in it to test it out.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to have to test it out.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I can't imagine. I mean, it's like literally 8 by 12 by 14, maybe. It can't be that expensive to replace.
Oh man, that is too funny. I've never seen anything that tiny.
Sweet. It was pretty sweet. I always feel like my wife is probably like, Dan, every Wednesday night you like get on and talk to business owners for like 2 hours. Like, what the hell are you doing there? And so I always assume in my mind that she's probably just like, oh God, he's doing a podcast thing. He's going to be in there drinking beer for hours again. But this let me know that she's in full support of me drinking beer with my business friends.
Yeah,
so now I don't feel guilty about it. She's in full support.
You drank a whole fridge full of beer.
Yeah, I can literally say I drank a full beer full of fridge, or full fridge full of beer. Let me do this. I got to get out here on this this Facebook thing because one of the funny, weird things about just going live on my thing is I need to, let's see, where am I? Oh, I'm in the wrong thing. I got to get to the right thing to see the right stream, and then I can make this public. There it is. And I make it public so that if you listeners think this is cool and you're like, hey, Corey's up to some cool stuff, and I want to share this so other people see what Corey's up to, because he's up to some cool stuff, by the way. Foreshadowing, he's up to some cool stuff. Go ahead and give it a share. Corey's a total pressure washing nerd, but I get the sense of what he's built can be used across the home service space. And so we got a lot of maid service companies in here. We got lawn care folks. We got the floor coating folks. Probably got a plumber and a car guy in here at some point. Actually, I think next week I got my car guy coming on. My truck's in the shop like all the time. I figured he should probably come in and we'll ask him why my shit sucks. That'll be fun. But Corey, how the hell are you doing, man?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me on the show. Hopefully I don't freeze out too much here, but thanks for having me on.
Every time you do, we're just going to talk a lot of shit about you. It's going to be super fun at your expense. Perfect. Yeah, so it's the only thing I know how to do. It's what my daddy taught me.
I'll come back in and figure it out.
Yeah, you just have to roll with it. We'll bring you back in like mid, point. So you just have to catch up really quick and kind of like assume what we said. We'll see how that goes. See how that goes for you. Obviously, dudes and dudettes that are checking this out, feel free to throw your comments in, your questions in. Corey, this might be one of those things we even want to do some screen sharing on. Then my shit will freeze, so then we can both freeze up, and then you won't have to feel bad if your stuff's freezing up because I'll try to screen share and my stuff.
You could just block it out, it out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, then it'll just be the theme of the show.
I got a couple things I gave you, so
we'll fire those up. Before we get into all that, and before I start this is when I am going to start sucking down Busch Lights because I want to let you talk because I'm thirsty. Give us a little. I know you got a pressure washing background. You've built some home service business stuff, and then you got into the software space. Tonight we'll focus mostly on the software space, but I don't want to skip over the pressure washing story and kind of how you cut your teeth because I think that background is important. So why don't you give us a little bit of where you came from, how you got here?
Yeah, totally. So I lived in South Carolina and Atlanta, Georgia for, bulk of my life. And
by choice or by default?
By choice. Yeah. By default. Yeah, for sure. So I think it was 2013. I got into pressure washing in
Yeah.
Georgia. I used to flip cars, so I flipped cars from like 18 to 21. Bought my first house, flipping cars. I had, a
When you
shop in the back.
I've heard of like flipping houses. What the hell is
Mhm.
flipping a car? What does that even mean?
Is
Like I picture I grew up in Wisconsin. Flipping cars sounds a lot like tipping cows,
yeah.
but I think it's something different.
They're probably rusty rust buckets up there, but yeah, no.
Maybe that's why my truck's always in the shop. That's probably why my truck's always in the shop.
Buy low, sell high, right? So,
Yeah.
just trolling Facebook Marketplace and Craigslist and just going and I was on it like every single day, like, looking for a good deal. I would even
Are you at that? Are you just buying and selling, or are
buying and selling. Yeah.
do you like tinkering and so you're like messing with it at all, or is it purely
No,
just
I
selling?
purely did it for the money. We would fix cars up. I have a freaking Honda tattoo on the back of my leg, out of all things. Whatever,
At least
Dan. I'm
it's
gonna
not.
get
At
that
least
thing
it's not.
removed.
At least it's not on your lower back or something. Super cool.
Yeah, or yeah, for sure. Thank goodness, thank goodness. Flipping cars was my thing, and then um, I got linked up with this guy that like pressure washed the cars on the dealership lots, like
Mhm.
$1.25 a piece. We're doing like 1,000 cars every, Thursday and Friday, and I did that for a couple years just to make a little, couple extra bucks. Dude needed, somebody trustworthy, so he trusted me. but
And that was where he made his first mistake.
That's where he screwed up. But so anyway, I was like, dude, if you ever want to sell this business, let me know. 5 years later, dude's caused like a 7-car pileup. He sold me the wrecked truck and little pressure washing trailer. And I was like, well, what are you going to do with the accounts? And he's like, I don't know, whatever. I called the accounts. I knew them because I worked for them
Yeah.
for years. I knew all the managers. I was like, hey, Scott's out. I'm in. And they're like,
Had you been
okay.
out of it for a while, or were you just kind of still helping this guy out?
I was like would help him out randomly.
Okay.
He would just call me when he needed a fill in, and I would
Yeah.
just be there.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I told all the managers, I'm like, Scott's out, I'm in. They didn't bat an eye. I fired up a business overnight, and gave him
Yeah.
a W-9, and off to the races we went. And then throughout the next couple of years, hired friends to run that business while I flip cars during the day. And then I was like, all right, we need more car dealerships. So I went and got more dealerships, and I was like, this sucks. So I was like, let's make some more money. So I went to semi trucks, and I'm like, this really sucks.
Playing the
And
fleet
then,
logic game a little bit.
long story short, I ended up getting fired everybody. I think I did like $700,000 as like a 21-year-old kid, right?
Yeah.
Um, and we lost money. I was like, how can we cuss in here?
Fuck yeah.
I'm like, how in the fuck did I just lose money this year? Like I was in Italy, and the business was burning, for 2 weeks. And
Yeah.
um,
It is amazing. I present on like the purgatories of scaling a business often, and it's one of my favorite topics. And that thing comes up a lot because it's like we tend to do this thing when we're entrepreneurs of like, at this level I made this much money, so if I double that I make twice as much money. And then and I like to make the point of, hey, when you're small, your business can't make money without you.
mhm.
When you're bigger, it can. The flip side of that is that when you're small, the business can't really lose money without you that fast because you don't have a bunch of infrastructure and bills to pay. When you're big, the business can also lose money without you really fast.
Holy
Do
God
what you just
Almighty!
said.
You're not kidding. You are not kidding. But yeah. Anyway, I lost money that year, and I'm like, all right, I'm firing everybody. I fired everybody. I got into heavy equipment and did that for like 2 years, and I made 150, 60, 70, $80,000 a year by myself.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I felt like a failure. I'm like, I got to scale this business. And that was about that time Brandon Baum was posting
Was this
these
still in Georgia?
System Saturdays videos. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Was this all back when you were in Georgia?
This was back when I was in Georgia. And so I
Okay.
felt like a failure, but we had traveled a bunch. My fiance, her sister had moved to Washington State. And we visited a couple times. I'm like, God, it's beautiful out here. Like, let's just up and sell our house, and I'll sell the business. Let me start fresh and just start on a road I've never been down before. And then, like I said, Brandon was posting those System Saturdays videos. I really like latched onto those and listened to every word and kind of, read the E-Myth. That book changed my life. And
totally. Although I've heard Michael Gerber is very disengaging when you meet him like live. I've heard he's very just like stonewalled.
Is he? I mean, he looks like the most boring human on planet Earth.
Like that, or like
he's a great dude,
or like he's about to fry you some chicken. I'm pretty sure he is.
He looks like the Colonel.
Yeah, he's totally the Colonel, man.
Oh my goodness, dude! I bet he makes some mean chicken.
Sure. At least he's got a great process for it. I don't know if it tastes any good, but he'll have a great process for it, that's for sure.
Oh Lord. But moved out to Washington, really just like put in a grind. It was the hardest thing I ever did in my entire life. I never want to go through that. I never wish that on anybody. But I built a $2 million company in just under 5 years. So I sold it to my—
That does sound like hell. That does sound like hell.
I could go into so many stories about it. But the lessons that I learned from doing that, I can't, nobody can take that away from me. And I could apply it to any business, anything. And so I'm forever grateful for that knowledge and, the people that kind of helped me through it. But yeah, sold that business to my GM, which I think he does. He just joined you guys. You guys are doing his bookkeeping.
Oh, hell yeah.
I kind of like exited like kind of crazy. It was like, I was like, I'm done this year. I'm like, I'm out of here. I'm out of here. And I'm like, Cole, are you ready? Because like I'm out. I'm literally, I like my house is for sale. Like, and I've already bought a house in South Carolina.
Yeah.
So kind of, it wasn't like this glorious big check exit, but it was an exit nonetheless. And the economy tanked out there this year. It was insane. Like we didn't get phone calls until, April. It was crazy.
Yeah.
Like I burned so much cash just keeping our managers on. And I was like, dude, throw everything overboard, bro. I was like, just do it. I'm like in South Carolina, tripping out, sweating bullets, trying to get my service robot off the ground. But yeah, now I have my service robot. I automated a ton of stuff in that business. So I use my service robot to automate, obviously, like sales follow-ups, reminders to my employees, checklists to my employees, reports to my employees. I automated hiring. I automated everything. I will give you a link. I have a document. I meant to send it to you, but you can just drop it in here. It's a list of everything that you should automate in your business.
Heck yeah.
So in your home service business. So I'll give you guys a list, wherever the links are. I'm sure Dan will make sure you get a hold of it. But
actually, Dan won't, because Dan's unreliable for that sort of thing. But Jairus, my producer, he's on it. That's the guy.
Dan's got a high blood alcohol level. I'm just kidding.
I'm just busy doing bookkeeping stuff and drinking Busch Lights. But when it comes to follow-ups on podcast stuff, I'll get carried away. I'll get distracted. Jai's on it.
Man. So Busch Lights, that's a drink of choice.
They're all good, except for when they're not. But Busch Lights are the right price for a shitty light beer, and I just happen to like shitty light beer. So
yeah, and I'm a fan of number 4, baby, Kevin Harvick.
There you go,
Busch Light all the way, baby.
There you go. Fast car when it's driving straight.
I'm a huge NASCAR fan, believe it or not.
I feel like that, like the South Carolina, that area of the state, like Southeast, is that they love them some NASCAR.
Ooh, baby, yes, sir. It is like
you even when you just said "ooh, baby," you sounded doubly NASCAR.
Baby. Yeah, yes, love it. Mm-hmm. Like, let's dress up and go to Darlington. Like, seriously, let's.
Why not?
Why not?
Who could possibly resist?
Nobody.
So what? You were up in Washington.
Yep.
You're
Washington State, by the way. So that's on the West Coast.
That's way over there. And then you came all the way back. What brought you back to the East?
Well, I'm only wanting to stay out there 4 to 5 years. I
Okay.
was like, I'm gonna build like a $5 million company
Then
and
I'm
I'm gonna
out.
sell it for this big, huge check. Like I
Mic
want a
dropping.
cardboard check.
Mic dropping it.
Right. Mic dropping. I'm retired, like retired. I'm out of here. Psych.
I'm
But
going to NASCAR races for the rest of my life.
right, yeah. I'm like freaking about to buy an RV and follow them. Like I'm gonna go to every race in one
Maybe
season.
you just get on a pit crew and then you can just live all your dreams.
Yeah, that's what I actually wanted to do as a kid. I was actually going to go to school at the Mooresville. They have a NASCAR Technical Institute.
Yeah.
I was going to go there. I had family in West Virginia, believe it or not. And I was driving through Charlotte from Atlanta to Charlotte. I got a speeding ticket for 120 miles an hour in a 55. And the school,
you had to go somewhere.
I had to go see my family, my great grandparents. Like,
Yeah.
of course, I was in a rush.
Especially your great grandparents, like they might not be around much longer. You really got to hurry up.
Right? Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I'm glad you understand.
Yeah,
And
but I wasn't the one that pulled you over, so I bet you got a ticket.
So, it's funny.
I would have offered you a Busch Light. I'd be like, you
Oh.
better hurry up, kid. Here you go. Crotch this and take off. Get on out of here.
So that school caught wind of it, and they were basically like, "No, we can't. We can't have that. It's a driving school and driving. They're like no speeding tickets. Like
And you're
we're
like,
supposed
what?
to be on your record."
Did you see how fast I was going? Like I just let him catch me. He wouldn't have caught me.
Man, that was a big point in my life, believe it or not, because I don't know, like I don't want to work. I did not want to work on cars like for the rest of my life. I mean, thank God I didn't go down that path. Thank God that I got that speeding ticket.
You'd been washing NASCAR cars.
Oh man, yeah, seriously, just polishing a vinyl wrap, baby.
So you did pressure washing for 5 years. What I explained this about my blue skies days, which is my strategy sucked, the idea sucked, but it created the shows like this, right? I used to have the bookkeeping beer and BS show that I started there. I started my bookkeeping business there and now got a new one. And so it's one of those things where it's like, man, we had like 10 home service companies across the country. It was freaking miserable. It was the worst. It was the worst thing I've done. But I don't. Yeah, we had 10 businesses that at one point in time between window cleaning, pressure washing, maid service. We had one out in Portland. As a matter of fact, Brandon bought ours out in Portland. Thank God.
Thank God.
Because why would I? Like I'm in Minneapolis. It was chaos. We had one down in Tampa. We had St. Louis. We had Cincinnati, Cleveland. I had 2 businesses in Minneapolis. And then we started this administrative service business, which that was my sweet spot. And it took me a while to pull my head out of my ass and realize that. And so kind of like what you said, I'm never doing that again, but I also don't regret it at all. Like It was the right pain and suffering to like put me in a spot where I can help a bunch of people. And so you're in a very similar mindset.
100%. I agree. And I don't want this to sound the wrong way, but like, I feel like if I had a pressure washing company, that shouldn't be your end goal. Like your end goal should, be something else. Like for me, when I was building a pressure washing company, I uncovered like all these issues that all these home service companies go through and deal with. And now I'm going to solve those problems, right? Mm-hmm. So now I'm teaching everybody how to automate things, like how to use Zapier, like all this other stuff. Like use this program. It will save you time and make you more money. It's a tool. And all this stuff is going towards AI and all that. And I know a lot of the home service guys, they just kind of like shut down, right, when you say the word AI.
Yeah, I hate it. I don't like it. I don't like it one bit.
I know, but
I know it's gonna get used, and I know I'm gonna need people that use it. I just don't want to be the one using it. It doesn't excite me at all. I just want to be doing nerdy bookkeeping stuff and talking to people like you.
I know. I'm kind of the same way, but like, another thing in like business is I learned to love the things I hate. Like I hated safety, right? Until I got slapped with, $25,000 in fines in Washington. It forced me to love it. And then I got to be like this safety guru. Like literally when they came and audited me a million times, they were like, well, you should just come work for us. Cause I had like plugged every single loophole they had.
You start being like, no guys, actually like, here's what you need to be looking for.
Right.
I've really
Yeah.
been doing my homework on this, and your policy is not where it needs to be.
I know. I loved my L&I, or we call them labor and industries out there, but it's our version of OSHA. Like we had a
Yeah, they're
state-run OSHA
intense.
out
You
there.
get out in
Oh my
Washington, it's ridiculous.
dude, they got narc hotlines on billboards out there. Like you can just drive down the road and go and just literally text, talk, and narc on a company. Like
Yeah.
it's crazy. It's a pro-employee state. It's unbelievable. I was like, I've got to get the hell out of here.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like, I appreciate that, but I'm always like torn by like there's certain unions where I'm just like, really, do we need a union for that? Like, just
Oh
leave.
yeah.
Like if the situation is bad, everybody is hiring everywhere. Like, don't stay there and bitch about it. Just leave. Like
Right.
that sends the message. Staying there and bitching about it is not sending the right message. If you don't feel like you're paid fairly, leave. If you don't feel like the company has a good culture, leave. It's like
Exactly.
I just never understand the we better all pull together and hold it, hold this person, this employer, whoever it is by the balls. It's like, well, no, just leave.
So toxic. Ugh.
Yeah, just leave. Just get out of there. That's all that needs to happen.
Right. Yeah. There's plenty of jobs out there.
Yeah, I'm all about safety, but mostly I'm about competition. Like the labor market is super competitive.
It is.
Like it doesn't need to be enforced. Like and I'm digressing, but like unions were created when the market wasn't there, right? When it wasn't a free market altogether. And so people could, and the transparency wasn't there. So people could get away with really shoddy practices. You can't get away with shoddy practices nowadays. Like nobody would be working for you and nobody would be your client.
For sure.
100%. It seems weird. It seems weird. I appreciate the safety, programs and stuff like that, and like educating employers, because we're not going to know everything. And so there is like an LNI or an OSHA, like it is nice to be taught all of that stuff, because we get into business and we don't know all that stuff, but it is weird how they go about it sometimes.
Now, the one thing it did do was it increased the barrier for entry for home service companies. I mean, companies in general. You had to jump all these hoops to have a legal business in Washington. So I appreciated that, where you couldn't just go fire one up.
Yeah,
right?
That's a good point. That's a good point.
But that was cool. I just learned so much. I don't regret it at all. But I just flew through it. Like I feel like I didn't even enjoy my time out there. We moved out there to go hiking, hunting, fishing, and now
you're talking my language.
I don't remember, I barely remember. I can count on my hands how many times we went hiking, hunting, and fishing.
Now you're not talking my language anymore. For a second, you're talking my language, and now you're out.
Oh man. So, but man, what a freaking journey that was. Oh my God.
At what point, as you were automating stuff, at what point did that like epiphany moment happen, or was it an epiphany moment where you're like, oh, I need to build this, oh, I need to build that, oh, there's other people that are gonna like need this thing, and as I'm building this, maybe I ought to build it in a way that somebody else can dive in and use the thing that I'm building too? Was it early on that you realized that, or was it like, oh, I just built a bunch of stuff. Oh shit, everybody else could use this too?
Oh, my shit was a mess. You should have seen it. It was a freaking mess. Oh my God, it was a mess. I originally started automating the sales follow-ups, right? And then I was like, it's getting all these safety fines, believe it or not. And every time we hired somebody, we had all these checklists in place. It was like 50 items that the office needed to check down. And I was like, holy shit, I can use this program to automate this. And then my office manager doesn't have to do this stupid 50 check off all 50 of these things. She can just answer calls, schedule more jobs, or do her follow-ups, or whatever the hell she needs to do. You know what I mean? Or just sit in the chair and troll on Facebook. I don't really care, as long as we were making money.
At least you don't have to do this same thing over and over again.
I'm like, if my employees don't have to work when they come to work, that's awesome.
Just watch the machine keep moving, and
right.
And it's like, this is the second time this came up for me today, but have you seen the movie Strange Brew?
No.
Oh, you got to watch Strange Brew.
Where would I catch that? On the Red Box?
You might. No, it's been out for too long. I don't think they have in the Red Box. You're gonna have to go like stream it from somewhere, but it's out there. It's Bob and Doug McKenzie, like the Canadian comedian dudes, and they work in a beer bottling facility, and their job is basically just to watch the beer bottles go by. Like, that's their job. Like, that's great.
possibly check that out, Dan.
Hey, now forewarned, it's stupid as all get out. It's one of those movies. It's up there in like the stupidest of stupid movies. It's I think it's the same dudes that made Spaceballs. If you've seen Spaceballs,
Okay. Yeah.
like it's in that type of ballpark.
Yep. Okay. All right.
In
Cool.
that genre.
No, I'll go check it out.
It's
Dan,
worth a
for
check
sure.
out. It's worth a check out.
I'll shoot you a line when I'm done watching it.
Yeah, it might be one of those things you got to watch twice. You know the type of, it's like Big Lebowski, where it's like the more you watch it, the better it gets.
Yeah. Yeah, that was like Wedding Crashers for me.
Oh yeah, yeah, because there's it's so many quotable moments, but
Oh
you all register the first time.
Yeah, this is really stupid to say, but I watched that movie like 31 nights in a row or something ridiculous.
Oh wow, you went after it.
I went after it. That was years ago.
Can you recite it? Can you recite the whole thing now?
I'm a little rusty. Don't put me totally on the spot, but
it's kind of like a foreign language. You might know it all, and then you lose it if you don't use it.
Yeah, once it plays, though, we're good. We're back in it.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Pretty soon, the next level then would be like the voices. You'd be able to mimic the voices at some point.
100%.
Impression on
100%. Man, I love that movie. Good one.
It is dandy. It is dandy. So at what point did these automations you built started turning into an outward client-facing destiny?
It was probably like the end of 2022. I think November or December. Like a couple of people had known what I was doing with it, and they were like, "Build it out for me." And at that time, I was charging a setup fee. Like a $2,000 setup fee, and
I suppose because that's where all the time gets invested at that point. Is just
all
right. This is gonna take me a little bit to build it the way you're asking me to, but let me get in.
Yeah, and I was doing some custom stuff for them too, and but when the month was done, I was like, "Holy shit! I just made more money doing this than I made in my pressure washing company." Mm-hmm. And I'm like, okay, and then there was like a lineup of more people, and so fast forward to now. There's no setup fee, and I've streamlined everything. So everything is like on what I call a snapshot. And so I can just load the snapshot in. And so we connect it to your scheduling app, whether you use House Call Pro, Jobber, the Customer Factor, responsibly. It works with all those programs, Workies, Service Titan. So I have a snapshot for each one. And then I also have a snapshot for whether you do in-person quotes or over the phone quotes, because the sales follow-up is a little bit different, right?
Yeah, so totally. And what you need as far as like estimates and what you're sending them or sharing with them.
Exactly. And this program supercharges responsibly. So you can actually see when your link is actually clicked on and open it up. I don't know if you've ever used responsibly. So it's super cool there. You can actually bring in your responsibly phone number, so you can actually see the people that are texting it. The follow-ups are way better than responsibly. I call it responsibly. I'm not knocking responsibly at all. Responsibly is literally an estimating program. It's not really like a solid follow-up. I mean, it's a great follow-up if you have no follow-up, but it's really an estimating software. And this will supercharge it. It's pretty crazy. So I have a snapshot for each one of those, and then a snapshot. I have 2 snapshots for each program, whether you do in-person or over the phone estimates. So it took me months to streamline all this. And then, we're connecting it with Zapier, right? So you connect, let's say House Call Pro to Zapier, and then connect that to My Service Robot. And so in Zapier, I have more snapshots, right, of how to hook up each one of the programs. So now it's literally a couple clicks of a button, duplicate the account, run through it, onboard the client, make sure there's no errors. And so I don't want to act like it's easy. I don't want to act like it's simple. The grass is always greener on the other side. There's shit in every single business, but I've got it narrowed down. But I put I put thousands of hours and thousands of dollars into learning this stuff to get it to where it is now.
Yeah.
So
there's no like magic easy button for onboarding stuff. It's like you got to streamline it as much as possible, but it always comes down to expectation setting, and it actually most of the time comes down to the client.
It does.
I'm working with Michael Gregory on getting a website built for Best Damn Bookkeeping, and it's not done yet. And you want to know why? Because I suck at getting him stuff.
I know.
Like, he can't. His team can't onboard me. I'm sitting here talking to you, and I'm at this meeting, and
You're drinking a beer.
I'm drinking. I mean, I can drink a beer and send them the logos. It's not the beer that's distracting. It's year end for me, right? So I'm doing all my client bookkeeping stuff to try to get people across year end. So it's usually and I run into this with bookkeeping clients of mine. Like onboarding sucks for me and sucks for them because I need to bunch of their shit because I can't read their mind, and we can speed it up as much as possible. But at the end of the day, they still have to send us that one thing or give us access to that one thing. And that's exactly what I need to do. So Click Call Sell can build me a website. And I'm the bottleneck. I'm the weak link here.
I know.
That onboarding works.
It's crazy. Yeah, it's crazy. I'm actually working with an accounting company right now, and we're building out their program so that they can resell their system to other people. So we're working through onboarding customers because I'm the same way with my accountant. Like they're always, I can pull up my email right now. There's probably like 15 unread messages in there. I'm like, dude, these guys, leave me alone, please. What is a 1099 FBG 741? Like, dude, just fill it out for me. Just send it to me. I'll sign it. Okay.
Yeah.
Don't hit me with this stuff.
Like, you know what? I authorize you to sign it for me.
Right.
It's accounting. Send it.
Pay your taxes? Like, what do you mean pay your taxes? I thought y'all were paying them all year long.
Yeah. Surprise.
What are y'all talking about? Oh man. Oh man. I love my accountants. They're great. Sorry I didn't use you, Dan. I'm like super loyal. Like when I find somebody and they treat me right, like I never leave,
Hell yeah. There's apology not needed because there's no shortage of work to go around.
Right.
And I'm with you. It's like, especially with bookkeepers and accountants, it's like, man, if you have one that communicates, I'm kind of like, if it's a CPA and they're even like decent at the tax stuff, but they communicate, I'm all in. Yeah. It's so hard to find one that actually can talk to you like a human and or just responds to you, talks to you at all.
I know.
If you got that going, you're 99% of the way there.
They're like all analytical or something. They're just seeing like formulas and stuff. And it's like, hello, I'm right here in front of you. Why are you running formulas in your head?
It is weird. It baffles me a lot of times with accounting firms that they don't act like they own a business and somehow they don't act like business people. I'm like, how did you guys even get here? How did you start a business and not know that you need to talk to your clients? Where's the gap? What happened?
It's like that shit's everywhere. It's so crazy. Like I had to get my freaking couch steam clean, right? And I was like, I'm not calling Stanley Steamer. I'm not doing it. I'm gonna find some local guy, right, to support. I called 10 people, nobody picked up. So I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna give them the second day. I'm gonna try them tomorrow. Call all 10 of them again. Nobody picked up. I called Stanley Steamer. They picked up on the second ring, and we're out here in 3 hours. I'm like, dude, like, why are y'all doing that? Like, that's ridiculous. Do y'all not want money?
I mean, my guess is they haven't figured out how the hell to hire people, and so they're just they're the one man band. They didn't answer your phone call because they're out steaming somebody's couch.
That is business rule number 1. Answer the fucking phone.
They should use a better automation software to help give them.
I know. We have missed call text back. So if you miss the call, it'll text the client and tell them, hey, at least I set it up so it gives them a fluffy excuse, right? It says, hey, like, sorry, we're on the other line. We'll call you back in just a moment. Yeah. But really, my clients better be picking up their goddamn phones.
Yeah.
Excuse my language. I get fired up. I get fired up rowdy, baby.
That's what it's all about. It's all about. So as you built My Service Robot, by the way, is it myservicerobot.com?
It is. myservicerobot.com.
What, like, was there a cadence where you started adding features to it, or did you kind of have everything mapped out already just from all the stuff you had built in your pressure washing company?
I had everything mapped out, right? So I was doing all the things. Now, here's the thing is automations are invisible. And so, you try not to get people to shut down, right? Because a lot of clients it feels overwhelming to them. So I really try to break it down into steps. I'm like, hey, in your first 30 days, you're only going to be doing this. You're just going to focus on this because it opens up this whole new world, which is.
Yeah, you start pulling on some strings and all of a sudden you're like, what have I done?
What have I done? Yeah, I've been in the basement like all night automating everything. Like like my family birthday, like, hello, everybody gets texted now automatically, you know? So
Your wife gets a text from your automation. Hey,
right,
this is Corey. I'm just here to wish you a happy birthday.
right. Yeah,
Damn it,
exactly.
Corey.
I know. It's from some random number, and I'm looking at her like, who the fuck texted you?
Yeah.
Who
Who's
was
this Corey son of a bitch?
that?
Sounds like an asshole.
So yeah, no. The thing in Washington, we got fined. So I automated the hiring process. It was crazy. Like, you can put your training videos in here too. That was one thing that helped me scale my company super fast. Was I instantly went in and built video training for the employees and stuff.
Yeah.
And so I could onboard. I mastered the hell out of hiring years ago, right? And automated it and everything. And start to finish, it's completely automated. I mean, we're literally getting leads off Indeed for free. Like, there's no shortage of candidates. None. But anyway, back to the thing is, like, you don't want to overwhelm these people. So I give them the basic template of like their sales follow-up. That's done for them. Now I have training videos in there that you can watch if you want to automate your hiring, if you want to automate reminders to your team, checklists, reports, lead generation, commercial lead generation, etc. Like how to use Zapier. So I have training videos that they can go off the deep end. A couple of my clients have gone off the absolute deep end. They've actually built some like crazy stuff I've never even thought of. And I'm like, damn, like that's sick. That's awesome.
What did you do?
I'm like, damn. But yeah, I'm super
I'm
hands-on.
not ignoring you, by the way. I was just typing myservicerobot.com into the thing here so that it's out there. The link is there.
Thank you. So it's been really fun, man. It's been really, really fun. We're adding users. So yeah, this, I love this. This is probably not my end goal either. Like, it's just like another stepping stone to, move on. I've gotten really good at this. Like, there's other people that are trying to do this too. So a lot of times I will build, this setup for other people that are trying to resell this stuff too.
Yep.
So I've got into a lot of that, which is even crazier. But it's all hard work. It's all just, hitting the grind every single day, the salt mines, the coal mines, just getting out there, get up early bird gets the worm, whatever. Pound the pavement.
What has it been like building a software company versus building a pressure washing company? I got to imagine there's some things where you're just like, oh, like software seems sexy, but this sucks. And then there's probably some stuff where like you said earlier, man, building a pressure washing business had some downsides to it, and this is way better for X, Y, and Z reasons. What are the pros and cons in comparison?
Well, the reoccurring revenue, right? That's awesome. Like, it helps out so much. So you can really start to build out your base. Now, the other thing that I teach in this program is how to utilize this to create reoccurring revenue for your pressure washing business, because you need to be sending reoccurring reminders to your customer every single year, et cetera, where you're sending text blasts. I don't recommend text blast. Like, a lot of times you don't want your clients to unsubscribe from your messaging.
Yeah.
And then there's this new texting law that's come out, A2P 10DLC. So that's changed the landscape on the texting. Everybody has to be registered and verified. And if the carriers are reading your text messages, period. If they don't like something, they will block it. And guess what? You still pay for the text message. Yeah. So there's a lot going on, but we use the text blasting feature, 1 to 4 times a year is what I would say.
Okay.
You shouldn't be text blasting your client list. For one, it's cringy as hell. Okay.
When you do that, is there like a formula for how is like a cadence or a
yeah
to make it sound personal so it doesn't seem
we send a voicemail bomb followed up by a text message followed up by an email, right? Oh. And then if the customer doesn't respond, it goes again in 7 days.
Okay.
And then if they don't respond, it goes again in 7 days.
So. we always did. I don't know if we still do this, but I feel like we did the same thing. Just our order was different. We would do an email We went from like
Fuck that, dude. Email's got the slowest response rate. Snail mail. You might as well mail them a letter.
We did. We used to mail them a postcard. But we'd do that like way ahead of time, and then would be email, and then would be voicemail bomb, and then would be text. So we'd pick off like the slowest hanging fruit, not the lowest hanging fruit. We'd pick off the slowest hanging fruit, and then we'd get those out of the way first. We didn't want to throw our fastball first.
Right.
We threw like old reliable. Let's pick these people off because we didn't want to get. We would do it seasonally, especially March. Like we're in Minnesota. We didn't want to get a bunch of people in March, but we wanted to get enough people. Yep. And so we'd start with the thing that wouldn't get that many people, but would get enough that we could like start turning the lights on. But half the time they would book, and then the next day it'd be 10 degrees out and everything would be froze up and we couldn't go out and work anyway. So it was like we didn't want this overwhelming response.
True.
So we would kind of like it was almost to like capture. We had a list of 10,000 plus people. So it was like, man, if we would have sent a text, we'd have been like, oh shit, we have $200,000 worth of work to do in March, and there ain't gonna be shit left in May from a repeat client base. So let's start with the stuff that we don't expect to work that well.
Right.
It sounds really stupid, but it worked well. It worked in like managing our capacity. Yeah. It does. Because I said it out loud. I was like, yeah, that does sound really stupid that we did it that way. But there's a rhyme to the reason type of thing. Hey, we got a thing here. Chris checking in says they read questions on here. Oh, I don't know. Maybe if it's a good one.
What's a question?
That is a question. What is a question?
Oh, Sam. Sam's awesome.
Sam says, "What's
I love Sam. Sam's built out some crazy stuff. I can't share what they're building out, but Sam has got some crazy shit going on.
Let's Chris did ask a question, as a matter of fact. He said, I'm rolling out a new service for easy for me to say. I'm rolling out a new service for spring. How would you present that to current clients? Any offer? What'd you think?
So we would text blast, right? So like when it comes to Christmas light season, obviously we have a whole database, right, of customers that don't know we do Christmas lights. So we're going to voicemail them and text blast the shit out of them and email them, right? And that's how we dig a lot of new Christmas light installs for the year and put them on the schedule. So you can do something like that. Mail them, just like Dan said, but that's going to be slow. I would hammer them with a text blast or a voicemail bomb, whatever. That's what I would do. That's going to give you instant results immediately. And you can drip these things. So you put them on drip mode so that you're not sending 10,000 text messages at once. You drip them over the course of 5 or 6 or 7 or 10 days. So you can answer the incoming calls and stuff like that and go about your day, right? Yeah. So it works really, really well. Every time, most of our clients, anytime they do that, they generate thousands of dollars.
I like doing, especially because we're entrepreneurs, we always got like the new thing we want to try. So I like, it's always with repeat clients is where we start it to see if they really like it. And I do think an offer works, but I like to tie the offer with something that I know they already want done. So like, hey, we're rolling out X, Y, and Z. And if you book any of these services that you're super familiar with and that you've loved forever, you get this at this new thing that we're doing at a nice discount. So you like get your normal revenue on the thing you're profitable and productive on, whether that's pressure washing or window cleaning or gutter cleaning or whatever. You baseline it on that. And if you book that, you get to you're in line to get a sweet deal on this new thing that we're trying. And so you kind of like win and you win, right? So I think you can give an offer. It's hard to, offers can be so debilitating, especially when you're trying something new, because you don't want to like charge a whole shitload for something when you're still kind of in beta phase, right? Yeah. So you're trying to like figure that out, but you need to get compensated for the fact that rolling like new stuff is expensive to roll out. Rarely do we, as small business owners, set aside enough money for how much it's actually costs to launch a thing. It's always way more expensive than even our most conservative. And Corey, you can share however you feel like about software, but the only thing I know about software is that like take what you think it's going to cost, double it, And then you probably need to double it a few more times to get even in like the ballpark of what it's actually going to end up costing you after iteration, blah, 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 blah.
I know.
So yeah, Chris, I think, definitely roll that out and automate as best you can. And an offer, I think, makes a lot of sense. Just try to make it an offer where you're not just straight up losing money to be able to do it because you need the money, because rolling out new things is expensive.
Yeah, it is. 100%.
He did. He clarified here just to dive in a little deeper. He said, long story short, I'm adding on landscape lighting to my power washing and holiday light company. What do you use for a voicemail bomb? What's the best for all of that you mentioned? Corey, do you have specific services you like to use for that?
We send it all out of my search robot. So it's an all-in-one software. So everything's in there. All your conversations are in there. It's got a phone system in there. It's got a pipeline in there. It's got automation. It's got a training video section in there. So you can put all your employee training videos in there. It's crazy. It's absolutely nuts. I was able to actually get rid of a lot of extra software in my company, like TextMagic, MailChimp, like all these other softwares. My CallRail, RingCentral, got rid of that, right, and condensed and actually save money using this program. But as far as it goes for voicemail bomb, you could also use SendJim, right? So you could SendJim, I know, uses voicemail bombs. I don't think I know of any other programs that do, voicemail bombs necessarily.
Sly Broadcast and Sly Text we've used in the past, they're like two different websites, but obviously owned by the same people that do those things. Chris, so this is just like a weird nugget that I have. I'm a landscape lighting coach. I coach in Ryan Lee's landscape lighting group. So I got a couple coaching groups there. One of the things that I see over and over, I'm a ridiculous proponent of landscape lighting. It's a sweet industry. Where I think people's eyes get a little big is they're like, I have this sweet client list, thousands of people, and I'm going to offer them landscape lighting, and look out, because the average landscape lighting job is like $5,000 or more. Right. I've had people in my coaching groups getting pushing six-figure landscape lighting jobs. But that landscape lighting client is probably nobody that's on your pressure washing client list, or very few of those.
Yeah.
And even probably not that many people on your holiday lighting list, because that landscape lighting client is spending a shitload of money. I'm not saying none of the people on your client list are landscape lighting clients, but it is not a thing. It reminds me a little bit of maid service, actually, which is really funny because maid service is a very low margin business. Landscape lighting is the opposite. But one thing that's super different about pressure washing and holiday lighting than maid service or landscape lighting is you can send a message to a client of yours or somebody on your list and say, hey, Mrs. Jones, pressure washing time. What's up? And Mrs. Jones has a good chance of being like, oh yeah, it is. You're right. I got some shit on my siding. Let's knock that out. Or, hey, Christmas is coming up, Mrs. Jones. Should we do this thing? And they're like, oh yeah, I'm not going to do it. So you guys might as well come and do it. Right. You can trigger their response like that. Maid service. We ran a bunch of maid services. If you said, yo, Mrs. Jones, time to clean your house, she'd be like, yeah, I just did this weekend. Right. There's a point. And then all of a sudden, Mrs. Jones is going to go, holy shit, I'm sick of cleaning my house. I just got to hire somebody to do this. And she's going to spend a week or two asking friends and doing some Google searches, and then she's going to decide. But you can't trigger her to decide. And landscape lighting is kind of the same way. People are seeing it and chewing on it, but it's a $10,000 bill, and it's a pure luxury, right? And so it's the nice thing about a pure luxury like that is usually that clientele is pretty recession proof.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 100%.
I have $1 million house. Whether I spend 10 grand or 20 grand or 50 grand on the landscape lighting is kind of do I like your design or not? Right. I'm going to get landscape lighting. How passionate about it am I? So it does have some recession proofness to it because of the types of clients, but you can't convince them that they want it. Just enough exposure to it, and then you're in the right spot at the right time, and you happen to have the right connection and get referred or whatever the relationship is that you need to get the in with them. That's how you get them. So you won't convert, in my experience. Now, been wrong 1,000 times, probably just today. But in my experience, you can't just send them a message and Mrs. Jones is like, you're right. I do want $10,000 landscape lighting, because it doesn't have the emotions of Christmas lighting, and it doesn't have the, oh yeah, just knock out my siding real quick. It's not in the hundreds, right? It's in the thousands to tens of thousands. So it is a little bit of a different sale, a little bit of a different clientele. Not talking you out of it at all. Freaking do it. Just know that it, even with a list already built up, you got to nurture it for longer.
Yeah, sales cycle is longer on higher ticket prices.
Yep, and that's where that drip campaign and automation would be super handy to stay in front of them and keep reminding them that it's dark out a lot of the day, and your landscape lighting would be so nice to be able to see what the hell's going on.
Send them a text at 10:00 at night.
Is it dark at your house too?
Oh, God. Oh man, too funny.
Now I'm just picking on Chris here, but he said he's got 0 automation set up. That's what he's working on the next 30 days. Say the name one more time for the all-in-one.
My service robot.
It's Chris. The link should be up above. Somewhere in here, I typed the link in, and assuming there's a 50% chance there's a typo in it, and if there is, figure it out. You figure it out. It's probably, I think I got it. He said he and Ryan Lee have been talking every day the past week. He's been such a help, dude. Ryan Lee. Now, Corey, you mentioned responsibly before, and I always feel like Kurt Kempton. I don't know that there's a nicest guy on the planet award, but if there is one, Kurt's like a front runner for it, and Ryan Lee's right up there too. Like just in this ballpark of nicest dudes in the world. I'm far from it. I don't know how you get nominated for such a thing, but both of those dudes are there.
Oh my God.
What do we got? Sam says, I've done voicemail bombs before, was bombarded with callbacks with people asking who we were or upset. Do you drop offer immediately or just provide value? Example, it snowed and you put salt down. You should think about getting your concrete cleaned this spring. Like how aggressive do you get with Corey?
I don't drop the offer at all. So it's usually, hey, it's Corey with my guy, call me back. I'm saying that staying at my nose company, right? Or hey, it's Corey with Pro Wash. Give me a call back when you have a moment. So that's usually what I'm doing. A lot of people go all out. I think about it like as if I really was doing sales prospecting. Like if I was cold calling and I was calling like commercial and they didn't pick up the phone. If I drop my offer right there, they're going to screen it and they're never calling me back. So I always leave it like a cliffhanger. It's got to be a cliffhanger, right? They got to get you to call back. That's typically what I do. Same thing with the text message. So, hey, it's Corey. I just left you a voicemail. Give me a call back when you get this, something like that. That's usually how I roll with it. Now, it's some people probably view that as like shady or whatever, but it kind of is. But it is what it is. It brings in, it makes the money, right? So I got employees to pay. Sorry, sorry for being so shady. I have 50 employees I got to take care of.
I mean, and it's kind of like dating back in the day. I don't remember anything about dating besides if you like lay out all your cards, right? That's probably not going to go that well. Like it's weird.
You got to hold a couple of them back.
Yeah.
See, I was really good at that piece.
So this just tells you the kind of guy that I am. But I think a great measure for where your relationship is at with somebody is, can you fart around them?
Oh my God, dude.
That's like when you know that you have a trust factor, but you don't. That's big.
That's like 2 years in, Dan. Like, dude,
not if you're me, you can't wait that long.
Holding a fart in is insane. Like, that was just terrible.
But you're not doing that on like date number 1. You got to build up some comfort factor, right?
Yeah.
You're not laying out all your cards on the voicemail bomb.
And you pretty.
I don't know how to like tie this together, but you're not farting in a client's house the first time you go do work there. I don't know. That doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense at all, but it kind of does. You guys know what I'm saying.
I'm sorry. I'm just gonna go deeper off the end here. I'm always holding the farts back. Always. Yeah, every single time.
Just trying to be respectful. Let me see here. What you posted this link of this Google Doc, and I want
this Google Doc. What is a business? What a business should automate. So this is literally a list of everything that you can automate, or should automate, or can automate to save you time make you more money, allow your office staff to sit on Facebook all day.
Boom.
That's great for employee retention, right? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, it's great.
You're just gonna have a bunch of people sitting around farting in your office all day.
Right. I know.
Chris just said he back to the conversation on the landscape lighting. Said he agrees. Got it. I think he's talking about Ryan Lee. He said, dude responds to my ADHD ass till 2 a.m. Let me see here. We got some back and forth. I got to keep up. I got to keep it up. Said Sam, you're just naturally aggressive. I like that idea personally. I'm in New York though. We're naturally assholes. That's exactly what I would do. What did I miss?
He's right on New York for sure.
Yeah, the voicemail bomb.
I mean, people from New York are just built different.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's different.
He did to that point. Chris would say, "No, I'll rip ass on a first date."
Oh my god.
I love it. Sam did say capacity to get all calls answered before answering service would be the challenge with that route.
Capacity to get all calls answered before answer service.
Like if you drop a huge voicemail bomb, I think that's the biggest thing is just trying to like you got to the drip before you got to like do it at a pace that you can respond to the expectation that you set. Right. You don't want to like overpromise and underdeliver sort of thing.
The thing is too, is like when you drip those, if you have a client list of 10,000 people and you only drip like, I mean, even 100 a day, like what's the math on that? 100 days? It take 100 days to get that thing out. So, I mean, you kind of have to push it, but you got to hold it in.
You can't fart on the first date. Now Chris did not, and I thought we'd be done. I thought we'd be done with my stupid comment about farting on a first date, but we're not. We're still going, and it's because Chris keeps bringing it up, and I can't resist the urge to keep talking about it because it's funny. That's just kind of guy that I am. He said you waste time with the wrong person if you don't rip ass in front of them on the first date. And I don't. There's maybe something to that. I'm more of like somewhere in the fifth date. Preferably now there's I can't get into all the specifics of this, but there's some definite truths behind like a fart can be funny. There's some humor in that. And usually it has to go along with how well you know the people that you're around. They're funnier if you know everybody really well. They're not that funny if you don't know everybody really well. There's the size of the space that you're in. The smaller the space, the funnier it gets. The ventilation can be a thing if there's a window nearby.
The temperature.
The temperature can create some. The noise obviously can create some laughs. But all of those things kind of go out the door like super early on. You miss the opportunity to be funny. It's more like a shock factor, which maybe you're into that sort of thing. I do want to get it out of the way sooner rather than later. I want to cross that bridge because I don't want to be sitting holding in farts for years, right? But I'm depending on the person. I would say, and I haven't dated anybody in well over 10 years, so I'm like totally out of the loop on any of this stuff. But I'd be in like the 5th to 10th date range, depending on the who, right? And that would be a good signal to me if I felt compelled to wait to the 10th date, then probably wouldn't be the right person. But if I was comfortable enough by the 5th date, I'd probably be like, man, I must really like this person. I'm willing to fart by him.
I can't believe we're even talking about this, but it's hilarious. Because if we continue to talk about it, I'm going to get really bad. We're going to have to change the subject, dude.
Are we still talking about voicemail? We're definitely talking about bombs. For anybody that just tuned in, this
voicemail
last hour,
bombs.
Voicemail bombs. Good.
You got to be careful how you say bombs on live. You know what I mean?
Very good clarification. Well, and since we've just been talking about farts for the last 10 minutes, we could be talking about any sort of bomb. But for those of you that just tuned in, we're 60 minutes in. We have not been talking about farting this entire time. I promise. Eric Tower in the house saying, Corey, what's up, dude?
Eric is the bomb. Eric,
he is.
Eric, actually, I got to show you this racing seat he sent me and the baby. Eric, I got to put this back in my truck, but Eric sent me the racing seat for the baby.
Mm-hmm.
Super slick, dude. It's ready to go. Yeah. Thank you, Uncle Eric.
Back to the voicemail bomb conversation. Sam says that's the challenge. The database is large, so that's the point. And then you're trying to like call people back after.
Oh, yeah.
And so just managing the speed. And I think, I mean, like text messages get the most replies, right? Then probably voicemail bombs. And then to your point earlier, Corey, the emails are probably the slowest. And so do them when you have the capacity to answer them, because there's nothing worse than somebody like sending you something and then you reply and then they don't get back to you. And you're like, what the fuck? Like you reached out to me. And now you won't respond to me, right? And so like the customer doesn't know it wasn't a personal text. Like the way you write it has to be like, "What's up, Mary? Just checking in. You know, it's that time of year. Do you need anything done before we get too busy?" Right? Like it needs to sound like you're talking to your aunt, not that it's a "Hello, Mrs. Jones. This is your professional local blah blah blah, and I'm just writing this message to you to let you know that it's that time of year.
We'll give you $10 off."
Yeah.
Yeah, that is the challenge. What are new things dropping in this Q1 with my service robot? Q1. Dang.
Right now. For
God,
those
damn, put me on the spot.
Right. Q1. I didn't even read it before I clicked on it. And I wasn't going to get to this yet because I still wasn't done with farts and voicemail bombs. But it was I have to go in order. And I didn't want to lose sight of that one. So I figured we can come back to this one because I feel like there's a natural progression of what's been working great for people, what people are loving so far, and then get into what's new. We're going to table it. Sam, we're coming back to this one. You're just
we're coming back, Sam.
Corey, to that point though, I want to get to this. What is as you see this thing evolving and more people using it, what is that like home run for you? What's the thing that everybody's like, oh my God, if I didn't have this, like what, one of those things where it's like, what the fuck was I doing before I had this? What is that thing in my service robot that people are just absolutely addicted to?
I mean, for me, it's the automations. Like it just saves me so much future time. That's the thing is like, you only have a certain amount of time on this planet. And I want to spend my time with my family, with my loved ones, with my friends. Like I want to spend time doing enjoyable, memorable things. And if I can automate a checklist or if I can automate a reminder to somebody to get something done, I'm saving myself so much future time to where, I'm not speaking over and over and again. I mean, that for me was the most awesome thing. I mean, the program will make you money, right? But it saves you time, which to me is absolutely priceless. I mean, you cannot price out your time. So that was it for me. I think on behalf of a lot of the other people, it's, most of it is the automated sales follow-up. Most people have no follow-up. Right. And if you're not going to follow up, any follow up is better than no follow up. Yeah. So even if it's automated. Right. So again, most home service companies have zero follow up. Zero follow up. Okay. Yeah. If I quote a job and I leave, I'm never talking to that customer again. Like
that's exactly your experience trying to get your freaking couch steamed. It's like
that's ludicrous.
It's just crickets.
Yep.
So it's not rocket science. Like you just need to communicate. It really comes down to communication, and communication does take time and it is a lot of work. So if you can speed that up and make it genuine, but not have to sit and type it out and click a button every time.
Right. Exactly. This thing just goes for you and it's connected to your scheduling app. So when you do an estimate, right, it's going to fire automatically because it's hooked up with the program. So, and then you can see everybody in the pipeline, kind of understand the messaging that they're getting behind it.
Corey, you had some of that Google link with what a business should automate. Is there a way for people to grab that? Is that online somewhere for somebody to check out?
It's the share link. I mean, you want a downloadable document or
I don't know.
It's a Google Doc. It's a Google Doc.
Chris said, how can I get that link? Any chance of you shooting it over to me? Like can somebody go with I posted it out here. I guess Chris, can you see it? Like if you open it up, can you see everything on there? I'm trying to interpret if he opens and gives him an error message.
I think he can open it and download it if he's at the computer.
Okay.
File. Download. Yeah, you can download it. You should be able to. You should be able to. It's a live link. It's shareable for everybody. Everybody can take a look. Everybody can take a gander. Let me just double check.
He just said, "To my computer I go."
Yeah. Good to go.
Michael Shane Lowe says, "I guess this show goes on with or without me." Michael was this. We had so much interaction. I don't think we ever got into farts last week on the show, Michael. I don't know why did we come up short? Why did we come up so short? But yeah, it goes on and it can go sideways just as likely.
Just like a fart.
That was deep. Chris wants to know, what's the cost for My Service Robot?
Cost for My Service Robot is $297 a month. Comes with unlimited support. Comes with a bunch of training videos. It's built out for you, and then we onboard your team. There's also my booking link is inside the program, so you can literally book a call with me anytime. And then we also personally support our clients as well. So that's what all it comes with there. Again, it's all built in and bolted up to your scheduling app, so it works automatically.
Oh yeah. To that point, Rusty wants to know, does it work with Marquette?
Oh, Marquette works awesome with this program. Marquette's actually got a really good Zapier integration. The one program that does not have a good integration is Jobber, believe it or not. It's got the worst integration ever. I met a guy, his name's Randy Warner, I believe. He built a whole nother software just to handle an integration with Jobber. So literally as of last week,
he built the middleman.
He built the middleman app that opened Jobber wide open. So that is really, 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 really cool. So I love this all this stuff.
I feel like we use Service Monster in our Minneapolis business. Does it work with Service Monster?
I don't work with Service Monster. I know, like I went the whole Service Monster route. It's very cost effective. Actually, their headquarters was literally 5 minutes away from where I lived in Washington State. Like I went there and met with everybody and this and that. Yeah. I got like my stories, on that whole thing, but I don't want to share them live. But nothing bad. Service Monster is a great platform. It's a great program. The integration is new, so I think they've just recently, within maybe the last year or so, released a Zapier integration.
Yeah, I know for a while they were pretty closed up.
Yeah, so they're still like working through bugs and stuff.
Yep.
And so I'm just not ready to work with that program yet. So I naturally decline clients that have Service Monster.
Hey,
I don't have a streamline, just being honest.
I was gonna say, we use Service Monster in our business. I really like it for the reporting and stuff. And like you said,
reporting's awesome.
Effective. Their scheduling is super cool. Like we used to be on Service Autopilot and the scheduling was way harder on there than it is.
Oh, Service Autopilot is a nightmare.
It's tough. I don't dislike what they're trying to do. It's just not how my brain works, right? And so much of a CRM is like there's 1,000 ways to do everything, and there's never going to be a CRM that does everything the way you want it done. But it at least has to flow the way your brain works, so that it's intuitive.
Exactly.
And it's funny how different they can be when they're all trying to accomplish the same
thing.
Flow
the way your business works, almost too. Yep. Like, I don't mean to say anything bad about Service Monster at all. So, Service Monster, great program. A million ways to do things, very cost effective. They got I love you can see how much is scheduled for the day.
Oh, dude, I'm a money guy. I'm a money guy. So I love the dollarized component of it. Yeah.
We use House Call Pro. I've been with House Call Pro forever.
Ryan Edrington says, looking forward to signing up real soon.
Nice. I see he's down at the fish market in Seattle.
What? Where is he?
Boom, Ryan. Look at that. That's the fish market in Seattle.
No shit. Ryan,
you ever been there, Dan?
That's the one where they throw the fish, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I worked at a place called East Bay. This is central Wisconsin, middle of nowhere, central Wisconsin. East Bay got bought by Foot Locker. And so it was at the time, I don't know if it still is, at the time it was the number one catalog based sports sale, whatever avenue. Like they sold so much from their catalogs and magazines and stuff. Foot Locker bought them. And I worked there when I was in high school, like on the phones, taking orders over the phone. Man, there's some weird stories of people calling in, buying stuff from the East Bay catalog. But the training that they did was literally like videos of the fish market. And it was like trying to like engage in culture and stuff like that. And I didn't know that the throwing fish was a thing. But that ever since then, I'm just like, oh, yeah, I know that fish market. I spent like 2 days watching videos about it when I was getting trained working at East Bay.
East Bay.
Which has nothing to do with fish.
Or Old Bay.
It's we're like the middle of nowhere, central Wisconsin. We're the belly button of the state of Wisconsin, and we're watching Seattle fish throwing videos. But anyway, Ryan's in Tampa, Florida. I don't know what the hell he's doing out in Seattle.
What the hell are you doing in Seattle?
The hell are you doing out there, Ryan?
Dude, get out of there before they hurt you, man. They don't like Southerners.
You're gonna get fished. You're gonna get slapped. Let's see. Chris says right now I follow up personally. I hate to say it. I have to remember to go into Sally Twinkletoes contact in my CRM because she had to talk to her dog, make sure the stars align before buying. I like the way you put that, Chris. Sally Twinkletoes.
Yeah.
Running it past her dog first.
Yeah, which is just a sales objection.
Yeah. As always. Sam does want to know, and this kind of goes to he was chomping at the bit earlier. He's like, what's new?
Sam, there's a couple new updates, like the dashboards are customizable. They're not customizable on your side. So if you want to book a call, we can jump in and customize your dashboard now. So you can move the things around. You can actually add YouTube videos. You can actually delete the dashboard and put your own dashboard in there, which is super psycho. So that's going on. There's updates to the phone system. There's a bunch of stuff going on. There's some reporting, it brings in the price and stuff from your scheduling app and whatnot. But a lot of times, like I make the system not bring in, let's see, for example, I'm trying to give you a good example here. So like, let's say you have one client that books like 3 different houses, right? Okay, so I bring the client in, but we don't want him to get 3 of the same text messages over. So I basically only bring him in one time. Now it shows one of the prices, right? And so that's why I don't love the reporting in it, because we don't want our customers to get bombarded with messages. So I kind of, I'd rather have my customers get the most correct messaging, right? Rather than, have it for reporting necessarily. So it does have reporting and stuff like that. You can track your conversion rates, not to be confused with closing rates. Okay. Most people get confused, but it will track your conversion rate. So there's also call tracking numbers in there. So I have call tracking number on everything. So whenever the phone rings, we don't even have to answer, or we don't even have to ask the customer like, hey, where did you hear about us? Right. We already know. We know where they come from. So as soon as it comes in, it registers in the system where Sally Twinkletoes came in from. We schedule it in.
He grabs her dog's name right away.
Once it goes into House Call Pro, boom, it fires into My Service Robot. It recognizes the phone number, applies her name to it, drops it in the pipeline, and shows you, and then once the job is finished, it says, it marks it as finished or won inside the system. And so it tracks your conversion rate. So you can visually see your leads in your sales cycle. So like we have, 30 people in, estimate complete that we need to follow up with. So you can visually see them, right? So that's really, really cool. But conversion rate, if 100 people call me and only 10 of them paid me for a job that we went and did, that's a 10% conversion rate. I converted 10 of those customers into monies.
I dig it.
I want to track revenue by each service. Samuel. So if we're going to do that, I would rather do that in a spreadsheet and hook it up to Jobber or responsibly, or
I would think
probably
Jobber. That would be right in your CRM. I would think.
It might be. Sam. This guy Randy, he just released a program that opens Jobber wide open. So basically, what we do is unfortunately, it's an extra program we'll have to buy.
Is Sam on Jobber?
Sam's on Jobber. He's got responsibly.
I do this all the time for bookkeeping clients that are on Jobber. Just run the products and services report. I saw Jeremy Brook just jumped on, and this is something we did with him forever. They switched to House Call Pro, and now there's some other ways to do it, but we just run the products and services report and like dump it into Excel basically, and then whatever I like to kind of group things together into the 2 or 3 main buckets, right? I don't want
so manual. Dan, no. So manual. I'm just kidding.
But we can automate it. All you do is create a lookup, right? And then it's automated after that. And so as you add new services, and most CRMs already do it for you. Jobber's a weird one that doesn't group it together on their reporting, right? You can get all the unique line items, but that's the goofy thing about Jobber is like if you spell it different one time, now you have a new service type. And so just a place to like pull it all together, but it's so easy to round that up. The products and services report in Jobber is the place to do it though.
Sam, we can automate it into a spreadsheet. So every time a job completes, it fires that information, all the line items into a spreadsheet, and then we just track it there. It just apply a filter on the spreadsheet, put a little dashboard on it, and send her down the road.
Yep, that's what we do.
We could totally do that.
A couple more. Let me scroll back here. We had some things that rolled in that Sam did say he'd be booking a call when he gets back from World of Concrete. Big plans.
Sam's awesome.
Chris wants to know for $297, do you set up the automations and drips? Is this something you white label,
yes,
or is this your own system you built?
Yeah, so I do set up all the automations. They're all set up for you. Everything is streamlined and built. Now, if you choose to go in and customize text messages, you can. 95% of our customers never even touch it. So it's up to you. I have all the home service industries done basically. So it's up to you if you want to customize the text messages and emails. But again, this program is literally up to the client, right? So like I give you everything you need to succeed. Now it is a tool. You need to use it daily. Some of our clients are like they're not using it properly, right? And then they're like, oh, this is a mess. And I'm like, well, I'm trying to book a call. Like my schedule's right in front of you. Okay, so book a call with me and we'll get it all straightened out. But, I have people that won't even book a call with me, won't even tell me they're having a problem. So, I can't really help those people out. The people that I want and that I love are people like Sam. Like I have a couple of people, like Sam that just go overboard with this stuff. I have, I have some young guns that are like one-man shows. They're like, dude, this thing saves me so much time. And they're going and getting it and making money with it. And then it's really great for this program is really, really, really best if you're not a one-man show. If you have dedicated office staff or a virtual assistant to actually run this program for you, because it's something you want to be working in every day. You have automatic text messages and emails going to people. And guess what? They think it's a human. Mm-hmm. So you need to respond. They are going to respond to those text messages. So you have to respond back to them, right? So, like on, for instance, on when the estimate completes on day 10, it says, hey, we gave you an estimate 10 days ago. Where do we go from here? Right. Just being point blank to the point. Right. And some people are like, yeah, let's go ahead and move on. Right. Let's move on with the services. Yeah. Get me scheduled. And so you have to be there to respond. Like I'll go into some of our clients' accounts and, there's literally money. People are like, yes, schedule me. And they're all unread messages. I'm like, there's thousands of dollars right here. Yeah. You're not even putting them on the schedule.
Do this one, and then do that one next. And then you probably want to look at this one next because that person's also trying to give you money right now.
I'm like, I'm about to just come out there and close the deal for myself. No, I wouldn't do that.
This was a good little nugget from Sam here. He said, he used it all year. Best part of the My Service Robot is all the communication done through the Go High Level platform. So whether it's text, calls, which are recorded, emails, which that gets really critical when there are multiple people talking with the same client. And I run into that in our business, which is like, well, what did you say to him? What did you say to him? What did you say to him? Well, I texted him, and then I called him. And so just the mapping of that saves you a lot of hassle, but also saves you a lot of trouble sometimes.
That is a huge thing. Yeah. So all your texts, all your emails, all your phone calls, missed, answered, unanswered, outbound, inbound, whatever, your Facebook messages, all of that conversation is in one location. So that is insane. I totally forgot about that feature. I mean, that is probably one of the most important ones right there. Is no lead slips through the crack. You can't miss a conversation. As long as you keep that inbox clear every day, you won't miss a thing. So that is freaking awesome. Cause like for us, we had, Call Rail, we had House Call Pro added this little, text thing in there. And I'm like, dude, why are you like, stop texting me? Like people are chatting in on my website portal and I'm just
coming at you from all different angles. Like
texting my cell phone, all my employees. I'm like, oh man, let's just get this all in one place.
So we got all these questions rolling, Corey. We're just getting hit them as fast as we can. We're trying to keep up with everybody.
Yeah, we'll fly through.
Yeah. Michael says, my question to you guys, when you're using software that does automatic scheduling, does that take away your flexibility as solo business? Like, do you lose the ability to manipulate, is what I think he's saying, like to put the things where you want it if everything's too automated?
So I don't do automated scheduling. Never would I let a customer dictate my schedule. Hell no. Hell to the no. Now there's guys that do automatic booking and online booking and shit like that. That shit ain't for me. So, okay, I'm never letting a customer dictate my schedule. Now you can do that. Like we'll do sometimes like automatic estimate scheduling, right? For a sales guy to go out there. It's pretty cut, plain, simple, right? It's going to take 30 minutes and then put an hour in between the schedulings. And then a customer could book their own estimate. But as far as a job, like, dude, we could run into something out there, right? That's going to take all day and we're not going to get to the rest of the customers. So never would I let a customer dictate.
Yeah. It creates the opportunity. It creates the opportunity for an unrealistic expectation.
For sure.
If you don't get to help set that expectation of the nuance of going out to somebody's house to do work, right? I do in my bookkeeping business, people are booking my schedule all the time. But the only conflict that I have with that is sometimes I got to get up and pee,
or fart.
Yeah, I'm gonna be that I can just hit the mute button a little bit, and all you're gonna see is like a little bit of a lean. You're gonna see like maybe a lean, and then a smile or a grin, and then maybe like a weird face afterwards if it's real bad. But at least I just give you the old mic cover up. I'll just give a mic cover up so you don't know that it's about.
Or you could cough.
Oh, you've noticed me doing that a lot, huh? I got this bronchial thing. I did wake up feeling like shit today. But yeah, I'm kind of the same way. I don't like having automated scheduling. I do like automated, like speeding up the process to get to the point where we can talk to them about when to get on the schedule.
Yeah.
But I don't want them just randomly booking shit on my schedule. Chris says, I use House Call Pro for pressure washing, Marquette for Christmas lights. Is this something y'all can set up to work with in separate systems?
Yeah.
My question to him is, what the hell are you doing?
Simplify.
Why are you torturing yourself?
Like, this is another thing too, is like a lot of times, like you can simplify your internal process with this program, right? You can get rid of a lot of different things, but in this scenario here, I mean, unless there's some specific reason that you need them in two different programs, like simplify your own life, like simplify your employees' lives. I started a concrete coating business in Washington for a little while too. And I got 2 House Call Pros and I got 2 this and 2 that. And I'm like, dude, this is for the birds, man. This is dog water.
It is. Yeah. I don't, having 2 systems that do similar things. I know neither one's going to be perfect for the other thing, but my only advice there would be just like pick the one that works the best for both things. And I'm a big fan of like, you need to see the revenue by those service types, to what we were talking about in Jobber earlier. And you can get either of those streams of data. House Call Pro, I've actually had challenges with reporting out of there. They've maybe changed.
Let me bite my tongue on that.
Okay. Am I like just preaching to the choir here? Yeah. No. I don't. Marquette,
not trying to get sued tonight.
Yeah, Marquette, I haven't had issues. I've given House Call Pro that feedback over and over again, but I'm not a House Call Pro user, so they just see me as like, oh, some random ass bookkeeping dude doesn't like the way we report, and I'm like, yeah, but like my clients need to know their revenue
terrible
service type. I don't know why they wouldn't give you that. They have the data.
It's
the data's
insane.
in there. It's like
it is.
How much revenue did I do for the thing that I call this? Like
I could go on and on and on
from a drop down.
I could go on.
I can export it, but I can't export it into like an Excel document where I can manipulate it. Like, just let me export it into Excel. I'm fine manipulating it and automating it there. Anyway.
Oh my Lord. Now, see, House Call Pro has the best user interface, in my opinion. In my opinion, the core of House Call Pro is fucking fire. Like, it is awesome. And then customer facing, it's fucking awesome. And then like the guys can get mad tips through it. Like, our guys are making like, people are clicking 20% on tips on like $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 jobs. That's a shit ton of money for an employee. Like, they just doubled up for the day, baby.
Yep. That's huge.
Anyhow, yeah, whatever. I sucked it up on the reporting.
This is probably the best comment that we had so far today. Nolan says, "What up, Corey?" And then he says, "Congrats on the fantasy win, Plata." We have this Minnesota Window Lickers.
I love Nolan.
We have Minnesota Window Lickers Fantasy Football League. And 2 years ago, I think I got beat by Mike Bletcha. Last year I kicked Nolan's ass in the first week of the Super Bowl, not realizing our fantasy championship was 2 weeks long. And then he like snuck it out in week 18 when half of my team was on the bench. And so he beat me. So this year I knew to have a deep bench. And this year I dominated from start to finish.
Oh my God.
I got lucky as hell this year and I finally won one.
I love Nolan to death. Oh my God. Nolan's fucking awesome. This is terrible, Nolan. But we were at the Conquer Summit one year. We were just getting fucking sloshed. We were partying hard every single night. And like pushing Nolan to like hook up with all these girls. I'm like, dude. Nolan, the girls were falling over him. That was what was crazy. It was so funny. I'm like, dude. Let's wrap that up. Like, finish it. Like, let's finish the deal, man. Like, close that.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry.
Let's work on your closing rate, Nolan.
I know exactly. Don't leave that. Don't leave that open, please.
For a dude that's been married for a decade and has 3 kids, I need to live vicariously through your, explorations.
I know.
I want to be a part of the front end of it, and I want to hear about it later. Because this is all I got, man. This is all I got.
My fiance, she's gonna kill me. I've been with Nicole for 12 years. We're coming up on 12 years this year. So I've been out of the game for a while, but
what you said?
I never forgot the game. I'm just kidding.
Like when's the date? What do you got? You guys got a date on the calendar here?
Nicole and I?
Yeah.
A date?
Yeah.
We date every day, baby. We date every day.
But do you have like the wedding plan done, or you just gonna stay engaged forever?
No, we don't even have the freaking wedding thing done, man. It's kind of crazy. Her family's awesome. They're actually from New York.
Priority, and so you're just like, yeah.
No, it's not a low priority. It's not a low priority. It's just weird. Like my family, I got some interesting cats on my family, and getting them all in one location. I just can't picture everybody in one location. So it's like, dude, I don't know if I want to do that. Yes, we want to do it. No, we don't. We don't really know what we're going to do.
I don't know. That sounds like some really good entertainment. You just put it all together.
It's going to be some fucking hella good entertainment. Oh,
you just need somebody there recording it all. Just like make a reality show out of it.
Oh man, it's going to be some fucking drama. It's going to be some drama.
That sounds good. I'm not coming to the church thing, but I'll come to the reception. That's right.
You want a wedding crash. You want a wedding crash.
I mean, we were talking about it earlier, so I'm in. Nolan did say, I don't know if there's something on the inside here that I'm not on the inside of, but he said, you got that backyard ice rink service built out?
No, I'll build it out for you, Nolan. I'll definitely build it out for you, dude. Nolan's got, if anybody doesn't know, Nolan builds ice skating rinks in the winter.
Nolan, how's business been this winter? It finally got below 0 like this last week. Until then, like Christmas here, it was 48 and raining. Like, we might as well have been out in Washington State.
Dude,
They
they
have
got
winter
like
until
3 feet of snow today, Washington State, or where I lived at least. I don't think it was 3 feet, but there's a foot, 2 foot on the ground. I'm like, dude, thank God I got the hell out of there.
we did our holiday light takedowns a week ago. We don't get our holiday lights out until April because
Oh,
everything's under 2 feet of snow, and then it's under ice because the snow melts, and you hear about all the ice dams and all that shit we deal with, right? We don't get takedowns done until late March or early April usually, because even if you can get to the roof line, there's a foot of snow and ice somewhere around the house that you have power cords frozen into, and there's no getting them out.
yeah.
You ain't chiseling them out. I mean, like, you would need a jackhammer to bust through that ice, and then you're gonna fuck up all your stuff anyway.
Mhm.
But yeah, Nolan, how's that ice rink build going this year? Anybody, just putting some boards up and throw some water in there. It's a little mud pond, a little mud pit.
Those ice skating rinks are they're sick. They are cool. T-Rex ice rinks, I think, is what they're called. Hopefully, Nolan don't kill me too bad for sharing that story.
Nolan did say need your system to track my close rate, but I think it's pretty decent.
If you think it's decent, it's probably bad.
Yeah.
We need to get that thing up.
Hey, what gets measured gets improved. All right, that's all.
That's exactly right.
Rusty had a question here. He said, any issues with the new
DMARC regulations? That's email. That's literally a domain setting. Like, that is so simple. I've been operating that way for years. So when it came up, I
don't
literally
even
had
know
to
what
do
this is.
nothing.
For us nerdy bookkeepers, what the hell is DMARC
It's
regulation?
a setting that you put in your your domain records. Like, it basically is I can't even explain it. It's super techy, right? So you put it in your settings. You got to have a one-click unsubscribe option for your customers as well. And so there's just a couple little things that came up this year that you gotta have on your emails now. And I've actually have had all that set up for years now, and so I don't have to change anything, and that's how I set up all our customers too.
Beauty. Chris has got a good one in here, and I want to actually like spend a little bit of time on this because I think this is an interesting aspect of scaling a business. So he said, I have this dumb thing of responding to people immediately, no matter what I'm doing. I'm the same way. Once I know that the communication is there, I'm like, I got to get back to them right now. They probably know that I looked at it. And if they see that I didn't get back to them within 5 seconds, they're going to be really mad because they're going to be like, I saw that you saw it. Why wouldn't you have gotten back to me? In the meantime, I'm probably like changing my 1-year-old's butt or something, like I got shit all over my hands, but I feel like I better start touching my phone and responding. So Chris,
he's got to hire a VA.
Dangling off a roof, I answer, right? But this your office person's on the list, just been worried about not having things for them to do because it's full
virtual assistant, baby.
Yep.
Philippines all the way.
So here's
I wish I knew this. I wish I knew this sooner in my business. I didn't learn this until after this point, but it was this point where I hired a chick for $25 an hour in Washington, and it was killing me on payroll. But I worked my way through it. But it was terrible.
There's a couple aspects to this. I think a VA in the Philippines can be super useful. I think an office person hired the right way locally can also be useful. There's a whole bunch of things that I see. But one thing that I see that we do often as small business owners is we race to get out of the field. We're like, oh my God, I got to get off the truck because everybody says I got to get off the truck and you can't grow a business from on the truck. And from a nerdy bookkeeping perspective, when I see how profitable people are as they grow their business, usually the worst thing that they do is get off the truck too soon. And it's just purely this. The highest paying job in your company is the lead technician job until you're like well over $500,000. And so people hire somebody else and pay somebody else that money, and they go be the admin. And you can hire an admin. Washington's expensive, but you can generally hire an admin around the country for somewhere between $15 to $20 an hour, and you can hire them for 10 hours a week or 20 hours a week or 30, or you can hire a VA in the Philippines. And like, no offense to any of you guys out there, but they're probably going to immediately be better than you because you're very distracted and you're all over the place.
So many just good points here, Dan.
And like, they're just going to be there
Every employee that I hired was better than me, because as the business owner, when you're wearing a bunch of hats, you can only do
you're good.
10% of the position,
You're a
right? When you
sprinter. You're
hire
not a
somebody
marathon runner.
full time in there, they're going to work that position better than you.
Way better.
Every employee I hired was better than me at that position.
Yeah. And like, it takes us a little bit to get over that, right? That we're the best at this thing. And so it's got to be us. But there's so much flexibility with that office manager role, whether you hire in the Philippines or hire it locally. When you hire a technician, it's all or nothing usually, right? There's not many techs where you can like find the right flex to have a part-time or a full-time gig, because usually they need to be full-time. But you can usually hire an office person that's like retired but wants some hours, right? And they're professional and they've done this job before and they just want 20 hours a week, and you can pay them $20 an hour, and they're immediately going to be better than you and free you up from sending invoices. Like, you're spending your time at night, instead of like with your kids and your family, you're spending your time sending invoices or doing follow-ups or checking your schedule for the next day, like things that your customers aren't willing to pay you for, right? Your customers are willing to pay you to bring all your equipment out and do work on their house, but they don't pay you more because you need to send them invoices at night. If you told them, hey, I need to raise your price because I spent all last night invoicing, they'd be like, sounds like you're not a good business owner. Right? And so, like, jokes aside,
that would set me off.
admin is one of the first things you should put in place to free you up, because you are the most expensive thing. You are the best asset in the business for quite a while. And so, not to say you should be on the truck forever, especially if it's not your jam, but don't race to go give away the highest paying job in your own company. Part of the reason why you have the business is to like bring some money in the door, and you're going to need a lot of money to scale your business. Scaling a business is expensive. And you can get to 600 or 700,000 flipping cars and be losing money, right?
Oh yeah.
Washing cars. So like, don't just overlook the fact that you're going to need money as you grow your business to scale it. So make sure you have the means to be bringing the money in the door. And it just so happens that hiring a VA especially can be super affordable.
There's so many ways to skin the cat too. Is like that was the biggest thing for me. It was like, what position do I back out of first? I wanted out of the field to work on the business. There's so much stuff that we could open up here on a can of worms. But what I wish I had done was, while I was in the field, if I had known what I know now, I would have hired a virtual assistant in the Philippines, $7 an hour, to answer all the phones, answer all the emails, do all the scheduling of the jobs and all of the estimates. And literally, so I could put my phone down and focus on training my guys. And because you're like, my anxiety was like through the roof. I'm like, my phone's fucking ringing. I'm hanging off the side of this roof. The employee's on his phone because he sees me on my fucking phone. I'm like, no, motherfucker, I'm working my ass off. You're on fucking Facebook. Get the fuck over here. Like, this is how crazy I get. I mean, I get full blown fucking ghetto. And like hiring a VA would have been awesome. But instead, what I did was, one of my technicians that was with me for a really long time, he was my age, and he was a really good dude, Derek. I love him to death, still love him today. I was like, Derek, like, I want to grow this company. I'll have you'll be the crew manager. Like, I paid him way more than, I should have been paying him. I paid him performance pay, and he was making bank. And I was like, dude,
but then everybody's winning.
Everybody's winning. I ended up paying everybody. Everybody's on performance pay. But Derek, and he ended up being the crew manager, right? Managed 4, 5, 6, 7 crews, during the busy times for me. But I backed out, let Derek handle the crews, and then I hired a girl in the office, and then then I focused on sales, and then hired sales. And while I was backing out, I videoed every position. Like, the thing you need to be doing right now in the field as a one-man show is you need to film the fucking technician position. Film the motherfucking position. Start to finish.
Bring a tripod with you. Put your phone on it. And
I fucking did it with damn iPhone videos. All my trainings are on iPhone videos. They don't have to be perfect. They just needs to be something there. Anything is better than fucking nothing. And so as soon as I got done with that, boom, it was go to sales training, boom, go to office training, boom, go to manager training. And then I knocked that all out in like 90 days, all of it. And then guess what? All of my hiring and onboarding and training issues, they all went out the window. Like I would train 5 guys at a time. They'd all be fucking watching videos on the laptop.
Yep.
You know,
Yep.
like
the economies of scale of that is way, way better.
oh
And
my God.
I do think there's some value in them shadowing, but then when they have questions, you can point them back to a resource that they have access to all the time.
Mhm.
You can, because you're gonna get the same question 1,000 times.
Oh my God. That's why I love my service robot.
Have you checked, what the training system? Have you checked the training system? Have you checked the
No.
training system?
No.
Yeah.
I'm just coming to you because you'll give me the answer really quick.
So, and I think that I want to hit on this that Chris said, because I think this is a bias that a lot of us have, which is he's like, I can't have somebody from the Philippines answer my phone, can't wrap my brain around that.
Yeah.
Sam already nailed it, so I don't even need to answer
Not
it.
true at all. Thank you. If I had a fucking dollar for every time somebody said, "Oh, I'm so worried about their fucking accent." Sorry, I'm not trying to be mean, but
it's
like
fair to worry
you can
about it.
find people with no accent whatsoever. Sam's got an amazing virtual assistant, and she has no accent at all. Like, I mean, she's awesome. Like every VA, I work with VAs every single day. Like every one of my service, almost all of my service robot users have virtual assistants, and I am working with them and not the owner of the company. Like Sam, I work with his VA all the time to do stuff. Not so much lately, but Sam's never who I'm talking to. It's her. But sorry to get mad. I'm just like, these guys work twice as hard for half the money.
I need to find. So one of the questions was where do you find a VA? Let me I have awesome
Upwork
for this. Well, so I actually, my bookkeepers are technically VAs, and I mentioned this on my radio show earlier. I have Angela Schroeder on my radio show every week. She has Unique Genius VAs, and the cool thing about her business model is that they're specific to you. They're basically like, they're not shared, right? They're your full-time person.
Yeah,
I built a bookkeeping business at Blue Skies for years and years and years, and I was like, everybody needs to be in the US. And when I got Take Two here at Best Damn Bookkeeping, I was like, all right, I know Angela's an expert in this. Let me talk to Angela. Actually, Megan Likes, who's a competitor but a super good friend of mine, was like, dude, if you are not using Angela's service for this, you're an idiot. And if Megan tells me I'm an idiot, then I know for sure I'm an idiot, which I already knew I was an idiot. But when Megan calls me out, I'm just like, okay, now I know for sure that I'm an idiot. And Angela's way too nice to like, she's like a friend of mine. So she's just way too nice to like sell me anything. And so I went to Angela. I was like, hey, Angela, do you think this is something that I could use your services for? And she's like, Dan, like I have scaled accounting firms doing this over and over and over again. Like if there's a thing that I do, it's finding bookkeepers for people like you. And so I have 2 bookkeepers already, and they're just phenomenal. And
they're amazing.
They're better than I am at bookkeeping.
Of course they are.
And like, and I mean, I like to sit here and do this, and I like to do financial analysis and stuff for people. I don't want to sit all day and click buttons in QuickBooks and do reconciliations. And they crush it at that. They just crush it at that. And I can understand every word.
I have VAs right now, and guess what they're doing right now? They're working while I'm sleeping. It's basically 10 a.m. in the morning. They're knocking out stuff while I go to sleep. So I can essentially work 24 hours a day.
I want to find
Sorry, Chris. I did not mean to get an attitude. I get fired up I just get fired up in general. Sorry, man. I didn't mean to have an attitude to come at you sideways. The name. So, Chris, another thing too is like, Philippines is great for customer service. Like India, like you said, Ranjit or whatever the name was that you said, that's probably an Indian name, right?
I was going to call him out on that. I'm like, Chris India and the Philippines.
And I don't want to say Indian. It could be Pakistan, could be any. Those guys are great at like computer coding and all of that crazy stuff. So there's these little patches of people all over the planet that are like really good at these one things. Philippines is notoriously known for customer service. That's who's always answering AT&T. Hey, thanks for, I'm on AT&T support or whatever. But man, I love my VAs. I have a training course on how to hire VAs and how to handle all of that inside of my service robot. So I give that to my members.
I have 3 folks. If you want to go get it yourself, like I've gone to the pajobsonline.com and Corey,
I hate that one.
there's alternatives to go like
Page
find your
jobs.
own. I for different reasons I like different resources here.
You got to have a process. Like
Melody Edwards is awesome. Home service
Melody's
VA.
awesome.
She's friggin' awesome, and she uses a lot of like personality assessments to try to like specifically match somebody that complements how you work really well. I mentioned Angela Schroeder. Her thing is she has
Melody's hooking you up with your perfect avatar. Like
Melody like pick somebody that that's what it is.
Get that pure magic.
In Angela's business, she creates a network of VAs, and so like my bookkeepers that I got through Angela are also tied in with a whole bunch of other bookkeepers. And so not only are they working with me, but they bring the expertise of a bunch of other bookkeeping nerds that she's placing in other places, so that she has really cool networking stuff behind the scenes. So they're not just a random Filipino person on an island working in my business. They have a whole support network behind the scenes that's keeping them engaged and helping support them. So Angela's got a whole bunch of that stuff figured out. And Brandon Lazar is a freaking wizard, and he started Ninja VA. And so I think between the 3 of those people who are all super trustworthy, well-respected people in our space, like find the fit that's for you. And by all means, like if I hired a personal VA, which I need to at some point here, I'd probably use Melody based. And I was going to do that when I was at Blue Skies until I started my new company. Melody and I actually made we did a podcast like this and made it as she was figuring out who the right person was for me. So we like documented the process. So go check out that podcast that we did back on the Bookkeeping Beer and BS podcast. Super cool to like watch it in process. And like I said, I use Angela's business for my bookkeepers now. I got to get Brandon on a show. I need to shoot him some dates to get him on and explore. He has Bonus Up and he has Ninja VA. He creates a lot of cool stuff. So check out what Brandon's got going on. But Chris, I think there's a whole bunch of resources, and I'm right where you are. Well, I'm not anymore, but I was right where you are, which is just like, I don't know. I don't like it. It feels off to me. And it doesn't now. And now I'm used to it and I get it and I love it.
Yeah.
And Rusty said this, and this is I had this experience. We talked about India a little bit, and now I use people in the Philippines. And Rusty said, "Hey, it's a 12-hour time difference. Our aim is
there's a process I have specific for hiring VAs. Like, yeah.
And I mean, like in the Philippines, they pretty much work our hours.
They're actually a day ahead. Like,
they're living in the future.
It's Tuesday here. It's Wednesday.
Yep. Yeah. And my team works when I work.
It's like the start of the new year. Like New Year's happens first.
They're right on the front end. They're on the front.
Yeah, they're on the front end. They're catching it first. Yeah.
But they're in India. I felt like, because I've used resources there, they work on their time. In the Philippines, they work on our time. Like, you're hiring in the Philippines, they're pretty much like, if you say, hey, here's when I'm working and here's when I need you working, like they work their night to work when you're working.
A hiring question that I ask, but most of my VAs, like, well, I don't have anybody that works during the day for me. Like, I don't need anybody anymore. I had a VA that ran my pressure washing business. She was a bad motherfucker. She would literally call my technicians when they got a call back. She'd be like, what the fuck were y'all doing? Like, literally, y'all don't understand. I talk to these people all day and you guys go out there and fuck the whole thing up. You're going back there tomorrow. Like, she wouldn't come across like that, but boy, she would manhandle them. Like, I'm telling you, this VA was badass. I paid her way more money than I should have, but the only thing she didn't do in my business was literally go to the mailbox and grab the mail. She did everything, all the emails, all the phone calls, all the scheduling, everything. It was insane. Insane. She would call and collect. She would cash check. She would, file stuff if I needed her to file stuff, handle the account and stuff. It was crazy. I used her for like 2.5 years. And then when I sold my business this year, I actually gave her away to another company. Actually, I think another pressure washing company. I don't know where she went, but I was like, dude, I got to find her a job. Like, she's so loyal. Like, they're all loyal. Like, all the VAs I work with right now, like, I just use them when I need them. Like, I have them on my phone. I can literally text them, whatever. And so, like, I have Reza right now, like literally she's doing work right now.
Mm-hmm. I think this was a good, we're sticking with the VA topic here, but Chris said he doesn't have any scripts. He has 0 office people right now, but he needs to get it all figured out. I tend to find, like, I get people up and running. I give them the lowest hanging fruit, which frees me up. Like, I need to build a bunch of training videos, and to your point, Corey, it's like I just need to record me doing stuff. That's all. But like right now, I'm busy knocking this thing out and knocking that thing out, and so I need a little bit of time to organize my thoughts before I start filming it. And by bringing people that I can delegate to, it frees me up to have the time to actually do the thing to record it.
And it's gonna evolve over time too.
Oh yeah.
I always think of your training videos and your like all your systems and shit like that. You got to be thinking of it like versions. Like when you looking at a piece of software,
it's not one and done.
It's like version 0.01 or version 1, and then you see version 1.5 has come out. And to your point, Chris, like don't be worried about scripts. Okay, here's a script for you. Hey, thank you for calling so and so. How may I help you today? There's your script. Okay. Like just get somebody answering the phone saying, hey, answering all the phones. You know what I mean? Like we wig ourselves out and overanalyze everything in our businesses. Like it's insane. Like I did it myself. And I made it way harder than it has to be. Like somebody, who the fuck is really literally going to sit there and read a fucking script, like word for word? You're going to sound like a robot. Hi, thank you for calling. Like, no, we're not going to do that. Like, hey, thanks for calling Pro Wash. This is Corey. How may I help you?
Yep.
That's the script right there. Okay. Like I don't need to say anything crazy.
It's not rocket science.
Don't worry too much. You'll freaking wear yourself out.
Chris, I got to call you out here because I think you're just sticking your head up your ass and you're being pretty biased. Hiring a VA overseas, and I do bookkeeping, right? This is all I literally look at is people spending money. It is not quite. It's somewhere between a third and half the cost, I would say. Your typical VA is in the $6 to $8 an hour range, in the somewhere between $1,000 to $2,000 a month, and that's all in. There's no payroll taxes. There's no payroll taxes for them. There's no payroll taxes for you. It's usually that, and it could be part time. It could be full time. $15 an hour for a VA. I've never seen anything like that. If you saw that, like, don't go there. Go somewhere else because that's not realistic. Like I said, it's usually in the $1,000 to $2,000 a month range, in the $6 to $8 an hour ish range, depending, and it's dependent on skill set, right? Just like in the U.S. And if you hired somebody in the U.S. for $8 an hour, I don't know. I don't believe that you could actually hire somebody for that. And B, you're just going to get exactly what you paid for. Exactly what you paid for. If you're trying to hire an office person in the U.S. that's any good, you're probably in the 20 to Corey. You said 25.
Yeah, 25.
It's regional a little bit, right? But I don't.
And then payroll taxes on top of that. They're ended up costing you $30 an hour.
Yeah, and this is just a challenge we all have to face, which is like people in the U.S. are privileged and they don't work as hard and they expect more and want to do less, and that's just that's an overarching statement, and it's not as easy as that.
No, you mean that. You mean that to everybody in the U.S. Dan.
Show me a time when it's not true, right? Like, I'm not saying that nobody has a work ethic, but like
are entitled.
That is just a natural consequence of what's happened in our country. Is that we have a bunch of entitled people that want more and want to do less.
Dan, you ever traveled outside the U.S.?
A whole bunch.
Have you? Yeah, it's an eye opener. Like, it's an eye opener. I feel like everybody needs to like get out of the country like once a year just to get humbled, just to get fucking humbled. It's crazy. Yeah. It's insane. Traveling for me has just been some of the most humbling stuff I've ever done. And I travel with a backpack. Like we ain't taking no luggage. We just snagging an Airbnb. I'm getting the food out of the market. Like.
Yeah,
I'm trying to learn the language. I'm taking the bus. You know.
Hell yeah.
Just and really just intertwine with the culture.
I don't take it for granted. Like I fucking love living here. I don't.
Yeah.
I spent a bunch of time in China. I would never.
Damn, did you really, Dan?
Yeah, I used to.
What were you doing over there?
So I used to work for a company called Cargill, which is international. We had 160,000 employees. Huge Cargill.
Cargill. Yeah, I know Cargill.
Like biggest private company in the U.S.
They make like chicken feed.
I mean, chicken feed trading this to industrial oils and lubricants and just like all sorts of weird shit, right? Like they're the oil that's in the transformer outside your house on the power lines. They put the oil in there. They're just in tons of weird spaces of byproducts of agricultural stuff.
Okay. I'll be there.
Protein and stuff like that. So I won't get into the entire structure because it's probably changed since I was there back in I left in 2016. But I was in the meat business, if you will. I was designing, and this was like really fun. I designed the commodity hedge that kept the dollar burrito $1 on the McDonald's dollar menu for a long fucking time. I figured out how to hedge the sausage crumble. Like hedging sausage is weird because it's multiple trims of pork fat. And so we created a tool with our pork business to lock the price in. And I already knew how to lock egg prices. You lock in with corn and soybean meal. So I'd be trading corn and soybean meal futures and options with like McDonald's treasury desk to help them buy eggs for like 2 to 3 years out and lock the price in.
You lost me, Dan. You lost me at like mechanical. Like once you got into futures trading and
it was commodity trading, but it was commodity trading so that your dollar burrito was $1. And now it's like $3. Like the freaking burrito at McDonald's is like $3 for that damn.
I know, it's crazy.
I had that locked in at $1 forever.
Dan, thank you for your service.
Yeah, it was the least I could do, and I always do the least that I can. But like literally the reason I was in China is Cargill started up a huge poultry facility, and we were going to sell chickens, like broiler chickens, meat chickens, to KFC, McDonald's, a lot of the restaurant chains over there. And they wanted to figure out how to create a risk management system like that so they could because the biggest, I mean, and this happens in our business too, it's the reason why you did performance pay. The uncertainty of the cost is a huge risk to your business. And McDonald's didn't want to have that uncertainty of their costs. They'd rather pay more to know what it's going to be so they don't need to change their menus all the time. Right?
That makes sense.
And so they brought me over there to figure out how to price manage their poultry. So I spent like multiple trips over there over the course of like 2 years, but I'd go for like 2 weeks at a time. And I feel like China and the US are so freaking similar in this regard, which is their government, and they're probably going to assassinate me right now. But
be careful. Tread lightly, Dan. Tread lightly.
Their government just sucks, and the people are freaking awesome.
Yeah.
And it's so frustrating, right? Because I feel like the US kind of gets that rap, which is like to the rest of the world, they just see our government and they're like, what a bunch of assholes over there.
I know. People
like, no, we're not like them. We don't like them either, man.
Like people are fucking awesome. Dude, you're gonna lead me down this whole like different just path, man. It's just straight this division. You know, the division is fucking crazy. Like, you know, it's just insane. Like, I'm not gonna walk down a dark alleyway with like any colored person, right? You know what I mean? But if you're on the side of the road, it don't matter what color you are, I'm gonna help you out. You know, like it's fucking crazy. And most people are like that. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Most people are fucking like that. And it's just this fucking wedge they're driving down. Man, I fucking hate it, dude. It's just gone to hell in a fucking handbasket fast.
Yeah, it's weird. Like it seems like somebody's trying to create division by acting like there's more division than there is.
There's
like exacerbating anything that happens as if it happened because there's a slight difference between people. And therefore, they only could possibly hate each other, and we need to like drive more racism to fix the racism. I know it's the weirdest thing. It's the weirdest thing.
I know, man. I know. I went to Italy. You want to talk about some racist motherfuckers? Italy, racist as fuck. It's crazy. But anyway, like, yeah, dude, I don't know why I got off on that. Sorry, Dan. You may never invite me on here again
on that path. Hey, like this is what it's not professional business podcast. It's fucking Home Service Happy Hour. This is an entertainment business show.
Perfect. I hadn't even had any alcohol yet. That's the thing.
I know I'm almost out of it. I just realized like I only brought 3 beers. What was I thinking? There's room in the fridge for 4. I just grabbed 3 because
What's the most beers you ever drank in a day, Dan?
The most that I ever like paid attention to
At the lake, sun's beaming.
It probably wasn't at the lake. There was one time in college where I counted them afterwards, and I had 26 Busch Lights laying around, and I was like, "Was anybody else drinking Busch Lights?" And they're like, "No, it was just you." And I was like, "Shit, I only have 4 beers left in my 30 rack." And then stupidly, and like I'm from Wisconsin, so that's not. It was from like noon until 2 a.m. Right? Like I wasn't.
Yeah,
I was drinking like beer. Yeah, I was drinking like I wasn't drunk. Like I like went to bed like a normal person. I didn't like pass out. I was just drinking shitty light beer.
I know.
And the next weekend, my buddy's like, "Okay, we're gonna do a case race, and we're gonna see who can drink the most beers." I take this back. I drank 22 beers that weekend, and the next weekend they're like, "We got to do a case race. Every man for himself. You gotta get your own case of beer." I was like, "All right, like I don't know why you guys want to do this. Like, clearly you see that I will drink a case of beer." And so I think the closest person got to like 20. I finished at 26 and everybody else was passed out. And I'm just kind of like sitting there like this was when Napster was the thing. I was just playing some tunes some tunes on either Napster or LimeWire, hanging out.
Kaza. Did you ever have Kaza?
No, I never did. I assume it's the same thing. I assume it's the same.
It's the same thing.
Yeah.
That's crazy, man. I'm just like reliving, reliving the memories here.
Yeah, it was interesting. That was the only time I've ever like counted how many beers. And 26, I had 26. Busch. It was of course it was Busch Lights. Nothing's changed. Nothing's changed 20 years ago.
It's basically water.
It's just flavored water. Everybody's into like flavored sparkling water now. I've been doing this for 20 years. Where you guys been?
Right. It is. It's got some carbonation to it.
Let me hit a couple things here, and then we'll wrap this baby up since we're a couple hours in. It's probably like past your bedtime here.
It is, man. Early to bed, early to rise.
Yeah, Chris did
mention the man healthy, wealthy, wise.
Chris did mention the $15 an hour for a VA was through Melody. When I talked to her, it was 6 or 8, and that was less than a year ago. So maybe something drastically changed, or she was trying to hire you the best VA ever on the planet. But
give her another call.
As I say, revisit that. Like Melody's the shit. Revisit that one. Talk to Angela. Talk to Brandon. Talk to somebody else that does the same thing. I think you'll be able to find something.
Check out YouTube.
Check out the YouTubes. Teresa, she has somebody local. She's paying $15 an hour. And the freedom. It's all about the freedom. She's buying the freedom.
Knows nothing, but she learned how to answer the phone. And so, oh yeah, she's buying freedom. That's right, Teresa.
Chris is coming back.
Girl.
Chris is coming back. He's going to be accountable. We're holding him accountable. We're checking in.
Yep.
Michael says Dan Plata needs back on burrito patrol. Yeah, man, we swung through McDonald's we were heading up ice fishing this weekend. And dude, like, luckily, I have to laugh because JC Chinowski made a post the other day about like, it was a share of like a video about somebody dogging on McDonald's, and JC's post was something like, "Yeah, I never stepped foot into McDonald's. That food is so," and I love JC's stuff. He's like, "I never stepped foot in a McDonald's. That food is this and that." And I was like, "Yeah, I never go through McDonald's. Everybody knows you got to use the app. It's so much faster and you get way better deals." And so I went to McDonald's this weekend. I think we got 20% off. Sometimes I got a 30% off on the app.
Dude, I love their the Egg McMuffins.
Dude,
I will crush them. Like throw 2 little pieces of microwave bacon up on that joint, and I'll eat 5 of them. And dude, it is not good. It's not good for my body afterwards. About 5 minutes later, it's not good.
Let me say this, because when I worked at Cargill, we made a lot of food for McDonald's. I won't dog on every other restaurant we ever made food for, but I will say McDonald's doesn't add shit to their food. Like when you get an Egg McMuffin, the egg is just egg.
I'll be down.
There's not other shit in it. It's so fun. They get such a bad rap, and they have the cleanest label of any, like, it's still fatty foods, right? Like, not trying to say there's not fat in their foods. It's not healthy stuff. But like when we would make McDonald's egg, it's like crack the egg, stir it, cook it, freeze it, send it to them, right? And they heat it up. Everybody knows that. When you're making eggs for some other restaurants, it's like throw some egg in there, throw a bunch of like milk filler in there. There's one joint, and you can probably guess. There's one joint you can probably guess who this is. I don't even have to say it. Their egg recipe was 20% soybean oil. Their eggs are 20% soybean oil. Take a wild swing at who would add a bunch of oil to their fast foods.
I'm thinking.
I'm not. I also stopped at this restaurant this weekend because my kids voted for it. This was what we had on the way back from the ice fishing trip.
Are you giving me a hint?
No, because you wouldn't know where I drove past, but it's a national chain. It's not like a regional chain. And normally they serve an Americanized Mexican food.
Taco Bell?
That's it.
That's it?
That's the one.
I had Taco Bell today.
20%. It's so good. I'm not saying it doesn't taste
terrible. Good. It's terrible. I shouldn't be eating it. JC's probably going to be like turning his nose up. Like,
we know what we're getting. It's all in moderation, right? It's all in moderation.
Just kidding, JC.
I think we covered it. We got caught up. Michael said this. Dan, are you the chicken man? I don't know.
I love fried chicken.
Dude, I do a broiled chicken. Sunday broiled chicken.
Buffalo wings. Ooh. Extra crispy.
Yeah.
I don't like the big juiced up chicken wings. I like the smaller ones.
That's what, every time I talk to B-dubs about people, they're like, their wings are so small. And I'm like, yeah, which means like you get more flavor.
Yeah, they're way more flavor.
Yeah, and you don't get any that are like undercooked where it's still pink.
Oh my God.
I hate them where it's like a little pink along the bone. I'm just like, I don't know, that's kind of slimy and weird. Like just cook it all the way through.
Tastes like the smell of a wet dog.
Huh. Well, now it's going to be that much less pleasant the next time I have it because that's what I'm going to be thinking about. All right, y'all. All right. I'm out of beer. We're 2 hours in. We got to wrap this baby up.
Cool.
Corey, thanks for hanging out, man. MyServiceRobot.com. Go check it out. Go automate a bunch of stuff. Corey, I got one more question for you, and you might have already answered this, but that was a long time ago, so I'm going to bring it back. If you weren't running a software company and you couldn't go back and start a new pressure washing company, money was no object. The world is your oyster, but you got to like have a job or a business or something.
Okay.
What would you be? What would you do? What would you go after?
More software.
No, you can't do. I can't. You can't do what you're already doing. You cheater.
Wait, I gotta pick something in the home service industry.
No, something outside of it. Something wild that we don't know about you. Surprise us.
Man, dude.
Like you're gonna be
it would be something
a professional shoe shiner. You're gonna be a professional shoe shiner, maybe a professional toenail clipper.
Something with flying or racing. I fucking love both of those things. Flying and racing. I have an Xbox and I'm probably going to go race like here in a minute just to wind down for this conversation. But like probably
you're going to be thinking about that fart graph that I was describing.
Oh my God.
The intensity of the hilarity with the different aspects. Yeah. It makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. Probably something with racing or flying. Yeah. Those are my two favorite things.
Would you like entertain being a commercial pilot, or if you're flying, are you like, I got to be in the mix doing something more exciting than
Dude, you want to know, this is really crazy. I love watching air disasters on TV. Like I'm a good troubleshooter, like from fixing cars and everything, fixing stuff in my business. And so I'm like naturally an investigator. Like I always get to the bottom.
Let me take that apart. Let me see what's going on in here.
Damn meddling kids. But dude, I could be like a air crash investigator or some sort of investigator. I mean, I don't know. That's just solving problems. Yeah, I don't want to work with like humans, like
just the debris. Somebody else go and take the dead people out of here. I just want
exactly
the dead mechanical stuff.
Yeah, leave the dead mechanicals, and I'll take a look with my technicals.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah. Sorry, Dan.
I'll get the dead.
I'm an idiot. I
don't like dead bodies, but I do a lot of hunting and fishing, so I'm like used to it. It'd be a little.
I mean, you hunt people like you hunt like dead bodies.
No, that's why that would be a little bit harder. Usually, it's just white-tailed deer. But I feel like I'm conditioned a little bit better. I feel like you'd have to be like an EMT or a firefighter where you see some more graphic shit. And thank
you all for your service. Anybody that's in that line of work, I mean, unbelievable. Oh,
I
God.
don't know if I can handle it. I can handle a white-tailed deer, but they're delicious, so that helps.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. Thank you for all of our service men and women here and abroad.
Heck yeah. Corey, any final nuggets to drop about my service robot? Anything else cool to add before we sign her out for the night?
No. Just keep plugging away, everybody. Keep plugging away. Shit's hard for everyone. Solve as many problems as you can. Swat them like flies. Keep moving. Keep chugging, and do the thing. Make the money.
Heal you.
Cool.
All right, home service homies. You heard it here. You guys know what to do. Corey, thanks so much for hanging out and going the distance with us. We still got 8 people watching. What the hell are you guys doing still watching this? Isn't it past your bedtime or something? Well, we appreciate either way.
Yeah, thank you guys
for being weirdos hanging out with Corey and I all night talking about farts and automations. Thanks for hanging out. We appreciate it. You guys know what to do. Work smarter and harder. Go earn some pride. Good night. Whoa, that was sweet.
Bye, guys.